What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Jack Wolf Knives Diamondback Jack. Now, this is a knife that I got into the collection via trade. It's probably been, I don't know, 2 months or so at this point, but I traded a TRM Bulldog V1 and a Wixco Pexton to my good buddy Josh over at Shield Arms for this. And I love this knife. I think it's fantastic. This is the first variation of a locking model from Jack Wolf that I've checked out. And this specific one was the one that I had always wanted because I have my only Jack Wolf in the collection is the Venom Jack, which is the slip joint version of, this pattern. It's a trapper pattern technically. So if you guys haven't, heard about the Venom Jack, it's a very, sentimental knife for me because I bought this from Freight and Lock Co. A couple years ago, which was the kind of first knife store, enthusiast knife store that I had ever visited. And I got it with my fiance at the time, now wife. And then I had it when we got married on me. So very sentimental knife. I got it with a nice Duties Leather Co. custom slip here with our wedding date on it, so I always have this in remembrance to that, and I just love it. So I'd always wanted the locking version of the Diamondback Jack, or sorry, the Venom Jack, which is the Diamondback Jack, and I had been trying to trade or sell the Bulldog for a while, and I had kind of been in talks with Josh about it, back and forth. And eventually we landed on those two knives for this knife. And I know he was kind of hesitant to part with this because, he really liked it too. But I think we're both really happy with the result. I believe he's really liking the Bulldog. And I know that this is just a fantastic knife in my collection. Really well made. You guys know Jack Wolf Knives is just producing high quality stuff. Whoever their OEM is, it's still, I think, a mystery in my opinion. But still just producing amazing quality, slip joints, locking knives, and now they moved on to doing some fixed blades with like different collaborators and different creators around the EDC community, which is awesome. But yeah, so that was kind of a little bit of a backstory on it. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. So my specific version, and honestly, I'm not going to lie, if I was going out of my way to buy one of these, I probably would have just bought the green linen micarta version. I probably would not have bought this Crinite version, Crinite, however you want to pronounce it. But now that I have it in, I really like it. Really just a fan of the blacked out version. Kiranite, I think, is actually how you pronounce it. I think I mispronounced it the first two times. But it's kind of like a carbon fiber, like a shred carbon, marbled carbon. It has a nice resin finish to it, very glossy. Looks really good, obviously, with the blackened titanium bolsters. You do have a righty-only deep carry mounted pocket clip, works really well. You can obviously still take this off too, and there's a little filler plate in there, so if you wanted to carry it in a slip, or if you wanted to just drop it in your pocket, you could do so. It's a bolster lock, beautifully done belt satin DLC blade, which I think is the first variation that I have experience of that. It's kind of like a newer thing people have started to do. So they run a belt satin and then they DLC coat it, and you can still see like the grind lines through there, but super nice and deep hollow grind. This thing is, I like to do that all the time. Like, that's how you know this is like a razor thin edge, thin blade stock, jumping up top there. S90V. I'm kind of glad they went over to S90V from micarta, from M390. It's just different, and I really, really like S90V, but nice fuller there. Then obviously you have the front flipper. As far as internal milling, there are none, but you do have a ton of titanium milled out there for the Kiranite inlays. Everything is done so nicely. Fit and finish is top notch. Just a really clean model, and overall I'm very, very impressed with it, as I was expecting I would be. Like I said, this is the first variation of a locking Jack Wolf that I've checked out. Now, as far as specs, obviously it's on ceramic bearings, DLC titanium, you know, all the things I already said. But with a, talking specs here, we have a closed length of 4.2. We have a blade length of 3.35 with a cutting edge of 2.92. Comes in weighing 2.8 ounces, so very, very nice and lightweight, especially when you're considering this is, you know, about a 3.4 almost inch blade, and you're weighing less than 3 ounces is amazing. That's awesome. It doesn't give a overall length, but if I can do some quick math, 4.2 plus 3.3, so it's like a 7.5 inch, you know, overall knife from tip to butt. Give you guys some, I already did a size comparison, I'll do it again, of the Venom Jack. This is the only, so I shouldn't say only slip joint because I have a case Trapper Junior, but this is the only Jack Wolf I have in the collection. It's the only premium slip joint I have in the collection, and I just think it looks fantastic. And I wasn't aware when I got this in, I think I mentioned it in my unboxing, I wasn't aware of how much bigger the locking versions are compared to the slip joint versions, because this is a great size for me. Really, really good size. Can still get all 4 fingers on there. Just a really good size knife. But this one is also, like, it's a little bit bigger, but I mean, it's still just such a natural design too when it comes to ergos, which we'll touch on. But just wanted to compare those two. Then obviously we have the Spyderco Pair 3 and the TRM Neutron 2, and you know, a good bit bigger than those two, especially when it comes to blade length. Both of these are right around 3 inches, so you almost, you know, you have about 0.4 inches more on the Diamondback Jack, but not too much bigger. But I just like to compare those two, as you guys know. And so unfortunately, these are sold out from my understanding. You still might be able to find them. You know, you can find them on the secondary, and you might be able to find them on the store. But I am going to just leave a link to Jack Wolf Knives down below to where you can see all 6 variations of the Diamondback Jack. But again, unfortunately, they are sold out. These were dropped back in March, and it's now December, so about 9 months ago. But there are 6 different variations. So obviously we have the Chironite Black Ice DLC Belt Satin version. You have a crystallized titanium version with belt satin. You have belt satin with fat carbon purple haze. You have a stone-washed blade on the green linen micarta. You have a stone-washed blade on the camo carbon shipwreck. And then you also have a satin on the techno carbon copper hand satin. So they all go for the same price point, which is nice. I like when they keep, you know, the same price for all 6 variations, but all really nice looking. I know I mentioned earlier how I would probably go with the diamond, or the green linen micarta, because it just kind of fits me more. But I really do like this one now that I have it in, and I've gotten to experience it a little bit. But that's enough about the knife, enough about the background, things like that. We're going to talk about action. The detent is so dialed on this, just so snappy. Very acoustic too. Really nice on the thumb flick there. And the reverse flick is just money. Give you guys a little bit of this. It has a nice ting to it. Front flip works well. Really like the flipper tab, how it's above the frame. Just gives you a really nice purchase. Allows you to do like the normal flip, that type of flip. You can obviously still do, the reach around is doable, but it is a little bit hard. Just a really nice, snappy detent. The folder works really well. The only bad thing about this belt satin DLC is like it gets kind of like your dry skin particles in there after flicking it a lot. You guys can kind of see it in there. That's my one complaint with it, is I just have to constantly wipe it off. But that's usually just like that after like a heavy fidget period. But dead centered, you guys can see. Not a ton of access there for the bolster lock, but you do get used to it. You just kind of shove the pad of your thumb up in there, and it drops. So great opening, great detent on the open. Now, as far as the close goes, drops to your thumb, one shake, drops to your thumb, some micro shakes. Very, very nice. I will say the first like week or two, it was pretty stiff, and like whenever I would push the bolster over, it wouldn't drop like that. It would stay locked, and then I would have to like shake it to get it to drop down. So all I did was just take a little bit of pressure there off the pivot screw, and you guys can see it's still locked up really nice and tight. Absolutely no blade play. And now you're getting, or I'm getting, I guess, these really nice drops. Very, very smooth. And I mean, I think it just needed broken in a little bit too, because it was fairly new. I don't think Josh had really carried it too much at that point, or at all. So now I have it. I'm not going to lie. I was like, at first, a smidge disappointed just because I had seen so many good videos regarding how the action is on these knives, you know, all the locking models in general. So I was a little bit disappointed at first, but then once I took the little bit of tension off there and saw, you know, what it was capable of now, it quickly, you know, washed that all away and really made this a lovely knife to carry and a lovely knife to have in my collection. So action is really great. Ergos are fantastic. I can easily get all 4 fingers on here really nicely. And again, that trapper shape is just so nice. I mean, straight line, tapers off here towards the back, but it just gives your pinky and my ring finger just something, a nice little area to hang on to. Super, super, you know, simple handle, simple design, but such a classic design as well, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what Jack Wolf, you know, it really was foundationally built on, and still is, in my opinion, where they just take classic designs to where you would, you know, commonly see them in slip joints. They made them all in slip joints, and then their second round, they came back and started doing them in locking versions, which is, again, super cool, but really, really nice. It's nicely rounded. The you know, the Chironite is, and I know Chironite, however you want to pronounce it, is, you know, nice and smooth. Again, it kind of has like that resin glossy look to it, or feel to it, but no sharp edges or anything like that. The pot clip does have a little bit of a pokiness here, but overall it's nice and flat. It just kind of conforms into your hand really nicely. You can choke up a little bit if you want to on this sort. I'd say that's kind of a 50-50 landing choil, not necessarily a finger choil, but a landing choil. It gives you some really nice, you know, ergonomics there for push cuts. Obviously, this thing is just an amazing blade shape for eating through cardboard. And this gives you that extra oomph. Pinch grip works really great, obviously, with that beautifully done Wharncliffe style blade. Low tip, cuts through things like butter, and just, I mean, this thing is just so razor thin down there. It's an incredible, an incredibly ground blade, in my opinion. Yeah, you can swing this around and utilize this in like a self-defense manner if you had to. It's a pretty good blade for that. You get plenty of a landing area up here for your thumb. You know, don't recommend that, but any knife is better than, you know, nothing, and some knives are better than others, obviously. But yeah, ergos are fantastic. Carry, get my hank here. Carries really well. Obviously, it's sub 3 ounces, coming in at 2.8. You know, and it carries relatively deep in the pocket. I think it's I like how they designed out their clips. It works really well, and that's kind of like the standard that they use on all of their, you know, their locking models. So it carries really nice and deep, sits down in the pocket really well. No flipper tab, no jimping, nothing like that to possibly catch your hand on. You know, the blade sticks out a little bit, but it's not like an overly huge package. It's relatively slim. Carries really well. I carried this, I think, a little bit with shorts before the weather turned to shit. And I've, you know, no complaints at all for it being, you know, about a 4 1/4 inch closed knife, and for it to weigh 2.8 ounces is awesome. Just a really nice job on the fit and finish and the build quality of, again, whoever they use for their OEM. No complaints there. And again, you can take this clip off if you are looking to just drop it in your pocket, or you could be getting a slip for it, which is cool too. If you kind of want to keep the, you know, although it's a locking model, you can keep the slip joint vibes alive, I guess. Yeah, so that leads me to my final category, which is price point and would I recommend this knife. So as far as price point is concerned, these are not cheap. You know, everybody knows that. If you guys have been involved in the knife community for a little while and you are aware of Jack Wolf knives, you know that they're not the cheapest things in the world. So I'm not going to go out and say that you're getting like some amazing value. Pretty much in my mind, you pay for what you're getting. Like, you're expecting whether it's a fixed blade, whether it's a slip joint, whether it's a locking model, you pay for what you're getting, in my opinion. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Like these are all $350. Now, luckily, I got mine on. I can't talk. I got mine in on trade, so I didn't have to pay that up front. And I don't have a problem with the 350 because, again, they are so well done, and they are really widely known across the community as making pretty much as highest quality of a product as they can get without being made in the U.S. I will say I know that some people hate on them for OEMing in China and stuff like that, and Ben gets some slack about that. Ben Boken, obviously the guy behind Jack Wolf. But in my opinion, that doesn't really matter to me as much. Like, sure, I would love to see more stuff made in the U.S., but you can't get this quality of a USA-made knife for $350. No shot. And I'm really happy to have it in the collection. That's at the end of the day, like I really have kind of a sentimental connection to the Venom Jack, and now to have the same model. Obviously, it's a different variation, but still the same pattern, the same model, but in a locking knife is really special. And I'm just happy that I was able to make this trade with Josh. And I think that this is one of the best looking, models from Jack Wolf, both in the slip joint and the locking version. So yeah, long story short, 350. It's pretty widely understood and known that you're not getting some amazing value, some amazing deal, but you get what you're paying for. You're getting amazingly made craftsmanship. Fit and finish is amazing. Ergos are always good depending on the pattern. Action is awesome. Like it's so smooth, so snappy, so just fun to fidget with. I mean, you guys can hear that. Thing comes out of there thundering, and it's just fun to be repetitive with it, and all around just an amazing product. So I mean, just pick a pattern is what I'll say. If you guys haven't tried Jack Wolf knives yet, pick a pattern you think you like and search out a slip joint, search out a locking model. Maybe go with one of the fixed blades if you guys are into, the fixed blade space more. I don't think you can go wrong. I hope in the future I get to check out more stuff from him. The Tango, that was another locking model, and that was actually like the first, in my opinion, the first. So he has the Tango and the Scuffle. But the Scuffle was I believe a Nick Rogers design, I think. That's going to kill me now. Or that's going to bug me. I should look. Nick Rogers. Yeah, okay, so Niche Designs, Nick Rogers. That's part of like their collab series. So I don't really, that's the Scuffle and the Tango are the first locking models that they came out with that aren't just reversions of their slip joint. So the Tango was a Chris Ortiz over at Cerberus Knives. Huge fan of his. That was his design. And then the Scuffle was a Nick Rogers design. But so far, other than those two, every other locking version has been just a remake of an already done slip joint, which is fine because I think that's awesome. Like the After Hours Jack, that's another really good one that I like quite a bit. Similar vibes to this one, but a little bit different. And yeah, so I'll leave a link down below in the description to Jack Wolf's website, to where you can get to the Venom Jack, the Diamondback Jack, as well as everything else, just to see what they have. Yeah, guys, leave a comment down below what your guys' thoughts and opinions are on the Diamondback Jack, on the Venom Jack, on Jack Wolf knives in general. You guys know I love to hear what you have to say, but I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, night, day, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.